Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, and we, as always, have Kelly Cook on the podcast with us today. Kelly, is it a great day today?
It's always a great day, Elizabeth. You know the answer to that question.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
I just had to double check. Sometimes we just got to check in, make sure that Kelly is still, on his choosing to be a great day every day. We want to hold you accountable, Kelly. That's it.
I love it. I love it.
And then we've got two other people with us today that are hopefully also having a great day. We've got David Wachs, who is the founder of Handwrytten. And then we've got Erik, who is an account executive over there who specializes in working with, people in the real estate industry and the mortgage industry. Kind of to tie this in, on one of our last episodes, we talked about creating a really good customer experience, really elevating what you're doing for your clients, how you are, continuing to stay in touch with them, providing a great service. And one of the things that Kelly mentioned was handwritten notes. It's a big part of his nurture plan, his, creating a wonderful client experience. And so, we've got David and Erik from Handwrytten here to talk a little bit about why that's important, kind of having that deliverable of a handwritten note, and hear a little bit about them. So welcome, guys. Thanks for being on today.
Yeah,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
Listen. We always try to bring the heat, right? Because I'm from Nebraska, so the meat and potatoes is a very, very real analogy here. So today, guys, because Elizabeth couldn't tee it up any better. Handwritten notes are a huge part of a strategy to keep in touch with a client. I tell people all the time that I feel my job is, to somebody who's worked with me in the past, is to walk that fine line of not being annoying, where I'm calling them all the time when they don't need me because they already have their house, but yet not ever responding to them or reaching out to them or saying hi to them so that they don't forget about me.
Yep.
And that's the fine line I'm trying to, and I tell them up front, that's what I'm trying to do. And so it's different for everybody, but one thing that we know people can't opt out of, or they can't, unsubscribe from, are handwritten notes.
Yep.
And that the whole direct mail aspect still does work and is very much so alive. And so we wanted to bring on two experts in that field, company that I've used before many, many times and will continue to do so. They do a great job because they have, in my opinion, the best font options when it comes to handwriting. So without further ado, I want to welcome, like Elizabeth said, David and Erik to the call here in the podcast. And guys, if you wouldn't mind, just give a quick little background of yourselves, and kind of like, I guess the really thing is how'd you stumble into handwritten notes?
Yeah, and I want to make, we've got two of us on the line, so I don't want to trample on Erik by any means. But yes, first of all, Kelly, thank you so much for having me, for having us on the show. My background is, prior to doing Handwrytten, and I've been doing this 9 years now, I did another, actually, real estate technology. I started one of the very first companies that did a text in for info on properties. So this is for the iPhone, way before the iPhone, back in 2004. We would do little signs, the writer signs that would hang from the real estate sign and say, want info on this house, text home to 30364, and you get the info and the realtor would get the lead. So that morphed, that business grew, is called House for Sell. But then I also just started doing general purpose text messaging. And by the end, we were sending over 1 million texts a day for some big brands like Abercrombie and Fitch and Toys R Us and all these brands. And what I realized, and there's a reason I'm saying all this. What I realized is in 2012, or when I ended up leaving the company in 2014, I was part of the problem, because by 2014, when that company closed up, the average consumer got 135 emails a day, or the average office worker, they spent 23% of their time managing their inbox. If you then marry that to all the other communications they get digital, like text messages, the thousands of texts, and now the tweets and the Slacks and the Facebook messages and everything else, it's overwhelming. And none of it matters anymore. You're just trying to delete it as fast as it comes in, right? And then, it's just like coming in, it's this never-ending onslaught. And then when you tie that to all the AI stuff and the new form of emails that people are sending, where it's like, if you don't respond, they send you another email saying, just sending this to the top of your inbox. People are getting so many emails, even if it looks 100% custom, they discount it entirely, thinking it's automated or, whatever, or they don't read it. And what I tried to do with Handwrytten, and it's funny, the thing you said about walking the fine line of personal but not annoying, I can talk about that separately. We have a whole white paper on that. But the reason we started Handwrytten was to do just that. It was to reach out in an authentic way, or what seemed to be an authentic way. I'll be the first to admit we're doing a little bit of fakery here, but reach out in an authentic way, but at scale, and really make sending a handwritten note as easy or easier than sending an email. And the way it's easier is through the automations we were talking about before the show. But yeah, that's kind of it. And then just real quick before I introduce my colleague Erik here, you mentioned not call them too much, but stay in touch. Well, we actually, if you go to our website, which we can bring up later, we actually have a white paper on there where we polled 2,000 consumers and we said, what's the most personal form of communication? And guess what the most personal form of communication is?
Handwritten note.
Phone calls.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But phone calls are also the number one most annoying form of communication. Handwritten notes are very personal, not as personal as phone calls, but run zero risk of being annoying. So if you're trying to walk that line like you're doing, like you already figured out, of how to be personal but not being annoying, then handwritten notes are the way to go. Anyway, we can talk about that. But
love that.
Erik has been with us, 6 months now?
Yep, 6 months now.
And he comes from the mortgage space. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, appreciate it, David. Thanks again for having me on, Kelly and Elizabeth. So yeah, I've been in sales for most of my career. I was in tech sales for a long time, actually. Worked with a company who is affiliated with Cisco, working with a lot of their Cisco account managers on Commercial West. But then decided back in 2022 that hey, being a mortgage loan originator seemed like a good idea. So I did that for a year. Turned out wasn't a good idea at that time, and I ended up over here at Handwrytten at the beginning of the year, and have been thrilled to be here, and very excited to be a part of the show. And handwritten notes is definitely, throughout my sales career, something I've thought about, something that I've known is a best practice, something that I've known to do. Now, whether or not I would admit that to my boss is probably a no, because it meant that I actually had to break out a pen and paper and do it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always something that I've known is a best practice, and we've seen tremendous success for the folks who've incorporated that. I mean, David has, tons of stories personally, and I've had experiences personally where, when you have somebody over and you receive a handwritten note after a service has been delivered. I had a company come in and throw in a power outlet for me because I have an electric car. So when that happened, they sent me a thank you card afterwards, and it was a handwritten card. Whether, they actually handwrote it or not, I'm not 100% sure, but it was like, wow, okay, they actually took the time in order to do something like that. Versus, when you do something else with somebody else, and maybe you sell a house or something, and somebody doesn't send you a handwritten thank you, they don't send you a handwritten card, and all you get is a text or an email, that definitely has a much less significant of an impact.
I totally agree. Okay, so what's the number one reason, or one of the top reasons why businesses, salespeople, realtors will not send a handwritten note? And then secondly, if it's laziness or some sort of unorganization is the answer, why would they not use a service like yours?
Well, I think everybody knows from their days in grammar school that sending a handwritten note after a birthday present or something like that is best practice. Why they don't do it, I think people get caught up and they're busy and they don't have the time, or they don't have a admin pestering them to do it or writing it for them. And then I think, why don't they use a service like us? Probably because one of two reasons. Either they don't think it would look real and authentic. And to that, I say, visit Handwrytten and click the business tab and request a sample kit. Or they don't even know about us in the first place. And so that's, we're trying to inform the public that services like us exist to some degree.
Got it. Love it. Yeah. I would highly encourage someone to take you up on that offer. It's free, right? To get a sample.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the website, it's spelled a little different, right? So Handwrytten is spelled.
It's HANDWRYTTEN.
And is it .com?
Yep. .com.
Okay. So I'm going to challenge every single person watching this. Hopefully I don't flood you guys here, David, with free stuff, right? Because but if you do it, you're going to probably sign up, because why would you not? Why would you not? And let's talk a little bit about now automation, okay? Because you're doing this because maybe you're too busy. Maybe you just think you have terrible handwriting. I don't know. I think it's still okay if you do, right? It's real, it's authentic. But you're busy and you just don't have time to do it. Because what I tell agents on our team when they first join, part of the checklist when they join, there's multiple things. But one thing, because I believe in handwritten notes, is that I tell them as a checklist item, they got to check the box on this line item of things to do, is to go to the post office and or a grocery store and buy several books of stamps, 3 specifically. So you have, 60 stamps or so, and then go to Target, Walmart, whatever, right? And get yourself a little, 100 things of envelopes, or even better, buy the ones that have the little, flat postcard with the envelope in it for, $5.99 or something. And have that in your work bag ready to go. And then get some return labels printed from, your Avery, whatever, mail merge, and print them off here at the office and have it ready to go. So all you have to do is actually write the note, and then you got to write the address of who you send it to. So, because what happens is, the way we run our system, I know a lot of people will batch things. They'll say, okay, I'm going to try to, let's say I have 100 people in my database. I'm going to put 25 in quarter 1, 25 in quarter 2, or whatever it may be, if I'm only sending 1 a year. Or if I'm going to send 4 a year, I got to do 100 and divide that up over those weeks in quarter 1 alone, right? Well, it only takes a quarter or 2 to go by before you start realizing that's a lot of handwritten notes. And the organization of that's pretty tough. The other option, right, is to do like what we do, which is have a CRM that you put somebody that you want to keep in touch with a certain frequency on a specific plan that you create, a customized plan. And that plan calls for maybe 1 handwritten note a quarter, or every 4 months, whatever it may be. And then that comes up, so you log into your CRM in that morning and you're looking through it and you say, oh, I got 14 things to do today. 2 of those are handwritten notes or whatever it may be. And so then you got to pull out the stamps, you got to pull out the envelope, you got to pull. And I mean, listen, it's definitely doable, but it takes a little bit extra effort.
Yeah.
What if you had a service that you could utilize to do it for you? And I think also too, so I'm going to speak on the automation of it real quick, Dave, if you could, because we were chatting about this offline a little bit, but also if you guys could speak about I know a lot of people asked me before when I've been promoting like handwritten notes, is they say, hey, Kelly, well, what's the ROI on that? How do I know it's working?
Oh, man.
So ROI and automation, how can you please talk to those 2 things if you could?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, if you ever decide to bow out of real estate and you want to come work for us, dude, you know what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
So integration. We integrate out of the box. Well, we have a full API, so anybody that wants to integrate with us can. We integrate with Salesforce, HubSpot, a few other smaller systems, Shopify, but none of your realtors would use that. And then Zapier and Make. And Zapier we use Zapier around here so much that Zapier came and filled a YouTube commercial here. So if you're on Zapier's website and then you go on YouTube, you might see an ad featuring us, which is pretty cool. Zapier is cool stuff, and it basically allows your listeners, if they're not familiar, how to automate the boring stuff, where they can tie all their online systems together and do some really cool stuff. So when something hits a stage in their pipeline, in their pipe drive or their sync CRM account, it can then trigger a handwritten note or anything else. So you can do that through Zapier. And then Make.com is kind of like Zapier on steroids. It took me a while to kind of get used to it. And now we use it for a bunch of stuff around here. And that Make also has some great scheduled tasks. So you can do scheduling in Zapier, but it's super easy to do it in Make. So if you're looking to do that, and we are a plugin to both, you'll see, if you search Handwrytten on Zapier or Make, you'll see us there. You just click it, you assign your account, and you're good to go, and you can send it that way. So to automating is really the end goal with all this, because even if we have an iPhone app, which we do, or a great website that has ChatGPT integration, which we do, and everything else, people still won't take the 2 minutes to do it because everybody's busy, and everybody wants to do it, but nobody has the time. So the only way to really guarantee it gets done is to automate it. And on our website, you can actually automate birthdays and anniversaries. You just upload your birthday list, upload your anniversary list, and they go out 2 weeks before. But if you're looking to do more than that, we are coming out one of these days with a campaign management tool that'll allow you to do it. But we've had to pull back on that to focus on some other features. And until then, you can use Zapier and Make to do it. And then your second question, did I answer question number 1?
Yeah, no, it's great.
Okay. Question number 2, ROI. So I'll give you my true answer, and then I'll give you a fake answer. The true answer is, and I truly believe this, if you're looking for the ROI of a $3.75 handwritten note after selling $1 million listing, you're asking the wrong question.
I love it.
I believe in something called a full stop thank you, which is a stupid term I coined, but basically say thank you, period. Who cares about the ROI? By not caring about the ROI, you'll have more ROI than if you care about the ROI, because it will be genuine. And if it's not genuine, people will see through it. If you send somebody a thank you note after selling their house or listing their house or helping them buy a house or whatever it is, and the first thing you do is say, tell your friends about me, it loses value. Or even worse, scan this QR code. God. But if you send them a thank you note and say, hey, I've sent you a little gift that's on its way, or here's a $250 Home Depot card included with the note to help you, do those minor repairs you need, then you're authentic and you're just thanking them. You're not asking for anything in return. So I think if you're asking for ROI, you're kind of missing the point. That said, there's plenty of ROI cases. So, let me give you an example outside of real estate. We work with a snack box company, and they send snack boxes. We used to get them at the office here, but basically they send a box of snacks to your office every month, and it's like a subscription thing. And what they found is if they screwed up your office box, they'd send you a handwritten note and some more swag. Now granted, the swag does not hurt, but neither did the handwritten note. And they found out that by screwing up, those clients they screwed up with ended up having a higher lifetime value than if you never screwed up with them in the first place.
Wow.
So what did they then do? They started sending handwritten notes, or they started screwing up with everybody and sending everybody a handwritten note to raise all tides. Another example is a piano tuner. And I'm sorry, these aren't really real estate. We could get to real estate in a second. A piano tuner. They're in your house once a year to tune your piano, a small-time guy out of Pennsylvania. After he tunes your piano, there's an automation set up where he sends you a handwritten note thanking you for the opportunity to tune your piano. Then he doesn't see you for a year. A year later, when he comes back to your house, sitting on the piano often is that handwritten note. You cannot buy that real estate. You cannot buy a billboard in their fanciest room of the home, sitting on their most prized possession. You just can't buy that. And then every time they play the piano, they think of you. So, what's the ROI for that? I don't know, but there's certainly value in that. Some better ROI examples. We have a prospecting, somebody that on our website, you can actually circle on a map. There's this prospecting tool available for no additional fee where you can circle on a map an area and say, send everybody in this map that meets a criteria such as number of people in household or value of home or whatever, a handwritten note. And they did that for solar panel installing. And they sent out 750 notes, which is not the cheapest thing in the world. It's about $3,000, but they sold a $65,000 solar roof. and it was the highest ROI they've ever seen. We have similar examples in car dealerships. Getting exact examples for real estate is a little tough. Erik, do you have any examples?
Specific examples so far. I mean, yeah, I know you guys have used some of the cards, and I know that a lot of people have really great and positive feedback on it. A one-to-one correlation of, hey, the card was sent out and the home was sold. Yeah, I'm 6 months in, give me a year and I'll definitely have a concrete answer for you on it. And, David's done a great job of talking over a lot of the things here. When he did mention that, people were too busy for sitting there and writing out a card, what I've actually seen a lot recently with real estate folks is they're actually door knocking, which I guess it's just kind of how the times are in the market. And when they do that, one of the really nice things is if you want to carry around your, pad of note cards and you want to carry around your stamps and you want to carry around your pen and all that other stuff, you could write a card for the person right there and then on the spot. But the other thing you could do is just open up the Handwrytten app, have a pre-templated message, a card, put one sentence in there about, hey, this is what we talked about, or hey, you have some cool flowers in front of your yard, or something that personalizes that message to them and just hit send right there on the spot. Cool. So that's another ability and a really, nice way to be able to have that contact, and you can do it just kind of right there and then.
One example with door knocking I will give, and again, this is going to be anecdotal, so I apologize, but I have a friend back in Chicago. I lived in Chicago for a good portion of my life, and he's looking for a home on the North Shore, and he's can't afford one of the McMansions up there, so he figured, well, let me give this a try, and if it works, I'll use it more. And he used our service to send one home a handwritten note saying he'd be willing to buy their house. One. And he got a response, a 1-for-1 response. Now, I do not think that's normal. I think that's an anomaly, 100%. But, it certainly does work. So, you are able to generate outsized returns with handwritten notes. Some industries where I can give examples, in the car dealership space, they see a 27 times greater response rate to handwritten notes versus printed mailers of the same type. So they send you these printed things all the time, and then they switch to handwritten notes. They saw a 27 time greater response when you adjust for the extra cost, because the very first thing we do is we print, just like a piece of junk mail, they print that. We print a nice card on thick stock, so we print that, and then we have to write on it and mail it and all the rest. When you adjust for the additional cost, we still had 7 times the ROI.
Wow.
So, every industry is going to be different, but
right.
Realtors that have stayed with us for 7-8 years.
Well, okay. So real quick, Elizabeth, go ahead. You got a question?
I was just going to say that I think it, the way that most real estate agents are probably using these are for thank you notes, right? To stay in touch with people. And it's really, really hard to put an ROI on your nurturing. If they refer you or they become a repeat customer, can't really tell, was it because I had just great service in the first place? Was it because of those notes? Was it because I call them every quarter? Right. You can't really put an ROI on any specific thing. It's the entire system that you did that led them to, working with you again or referring you. So I think it's, just to your point, it's really hard to pull any specific examples for what an ROI would be for a way that a real estate agent is using it. And it's really just your entire system altogether.
Yeah. And I go on a lot of these podcasts, or I go on a lot of podcasts, and I talk about this ROI topic. And again, I think there is something just to be said for being thankful and genuinely thankful. I mean, there's a lot of realtors out there. There's a lot of handwritten note companies now, so we should be more thankful of people if they use our service too. And in a day and age with a million options, and you can use Realtor A or B or C or whatever, list your home yourself through 72 Sold or whatever the option is. The fact that they chose you, I think you should be grateful there, even if it doesn't generate an ROI.
I totally agree. That's well said. So real quick, let's pivot. Now let's talk about fonts really fast. My favorite personally is Reliable Ryan. I think looks the most like mine.
But very good. I will say that's a very good one.
Yep. Okay, good. Because it's just good, and I like it because it's not straight it's not perfect, right? Some are a little up, some are a little down on the lines across the note card. But what if an agent, sir, or someone out there is saying, well, can you just, I want my handwriting. I think my clients are so smart, they're going to be able to tell that Reliable Ryan is not Kelly Cook. And so is it possible to have my own handwriting on these cards somehow, some way?
Erik, why don't you take this one?
Will do, David. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the question, Kelly. Yeah, you can certainly do that. We have the ability to be able to get your handwriting on with Handwrytten. So if you do submit that sample request that we talked about earlier, you have questions about being able to make that happen. It takes our designers about a week to basically teach the robots how to write like you. You'll feel like you're in kindergarten all over again because you got this 20-page packet to fill out. We do all like these ligatures. So if you cross your T's a certain way, or if you write two letters specifically next to each other, it's going to capture that and it'll specifically have that in your handwriting style. And if you find a handwriting that looks authentic, it looks like you, or at least what you wish your handwriting looked like, and you're happy with it, the other option that we do have is to be able to add your signature. So that's something that a lot of people see. It's very common if they're looking over their mortgage contract and your signature's on there somewhere and you want to make sure that it matches, then we can do that if you're not ready to get going on the entire handwriting. So both of those are certainly an option with us.
Awesome. What's the cost of those things?
So in order to do a handwriting, we can do that with includes the signature as well. We can do a handwriting if it's all caps or just regular block handwriting for $1,000. If we're doing a cursive handwriting, it's $1,500. If you're just doing the signature as a standalone, it's $250.
So you could obviously figure out if you have so many clients in your database that you want to hit on a certain frequency, you can start figuring out what's this cost going to be. It's probably going to be pennies to do this one-time cost if you're going to send quite a few out over and commit to it for the next year, 2, 3, 5, whatever it may be. So that's interesting. That's really cool too. The other question I just thought of was, talk to us about what you can put in the handwritten notes, because obviously some people like to include gifts, gift cards, brownies. I don't know, right? But like, what's the smorgasbord of options when it comes to things that people can send to their client along with the handwritten note?
What do you want to put in there, Kelly?
Well,
ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
He steps in. Well, hold on.
So the base platform of Handwrytten, we just to scale the company, we've kind of limited it to things that fit in an envelope. So we can take your business card and we can do that. We also have gift cards to major brands, Starbucks, Amazon, Home Depot, some restaurants and that type of thing in varying denominations. So you can do that. We even got creative, and certain real estate firms have ties to certain instant coffee companies, believe it or not, because Keller Williams has a tie to this company called Golden Ratio. So we carry Golden Ratio coffee. Golden Ratio isn't my favorite taste. It's a unique taste. So then we started carrying another instant coffee as well that you can include with the card. And then we have seed packets, which are kind of a cutesy little way, if you're trying to nurture an account. Maybe not if you sell a house. If I sold you a house and I got a packet of seeds in return, I'd be pretty pissed. But
or a bamboo plant, right, David?
Yeah, bamboo. Yeah, exactly. The first house I bought, the first condo, my realtor was a follower of Brian Buffini.
Oh yeah.
She knew to give a good, a thank you gift, but she didn't realize that it had to be something kind of, not like what you pick up at Walgreens, and from a crappy bamboo plant. But anyway, so we can do that. And then if you have any non-perishable items and you're trying to do it in bulk, so books or something like that, we can ship those on your behalf, but we'd have to kind of custom arrange for that. Right, Erik? I mean, we're not doing brownies yet. I know, like, fairy tale brownies are a great option in Phoenix, Arizona. We're just worried about the perishable nature of that right now.
Right.
Yeah, and we can do other things like we can do scratchers tickets, we can do lottery tickets, we can do magnets. If you have a gift certificate of like a certain local food chain that you really want, that is kind of representing the fact that you're a small town, local real estate agent, we can do stuff like that. Really anything non-bulky and flat, we can get included in there. Cost for inserts is going to be 25 cents per card, or per insert per card.
Okay, that's
So,
my next question.
yep, 25 cents, not a huge cost in order to be able to get
And
that
we send
included.
you the cards?
Yep, send them to we'll get you the correct address, reach out to we'll be able to get those sent over. We catalog them, put them here on file, and then when you're setting up that automation, or if you're sending them manually yourself, you'll be able to select those inserts to have sent out with that card send.
Oh, cool.
And then, if you do have something bigger, we can always send the cards back to you. Maybe just write their names on the envelope, not full address and return address and that type of thing. And then you would just take those cards and place them with the right gift and ship them off, just to kind of save yourself a step if you're doing some really big holiday gift or something like that, where you're sending out a lot of them.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Gotcha.
to David's point, we send them to like fulfillment centers. So if you are working with like gift box companies or anything like that, we ship them there. Or you can have Vistaprint send us like stuff like business cards and everything. We can receive it that way too.
Awesome. Okay, so I think the maybe just a couple more questions here is pricing wise. I know you mentioned $375. Is that the standard rate for if you send in a one-off card?
Yep, one-off card, one time, $375, and then your postage stamp on there is going to be 63 cents right now. It's going to go up to 66 cents on July 9th. And even though we're going to send over probably 2.5 million cards this year, the post office doesn't give us a break on postage. David, we need to go beat them up on that one.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's going to be one-off cost. Most real estate agents that we work with are never going to pay that. We have monthly subscriptions. We can get you going on as little as 25 cards a month. And then we do prepaid packages based on volume that you're going to be looking for. Usually starts out at about 600 cards. And then with that, you get 3 years to be able to use the credits. And at that point, your cost per card, including postage, is down to $344 a piece.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, cool guys. This has been very informative. Even though I've used you guys quite a bit, I've never done a whole lot with inserts and that kind of stuff. So, and the automation thing is huge. So I'll definitely be talking to you guys more about that. Last question then before we leave. What's one piece of advice? Because I know Erik specifically, you're in the real estate vertical, mortgage vertical, right, of Handwrytten. So what's one piece of advice from one of you guys that you could give to any realtor out there that's watching this, or mortgage loan officer, that they could put or enact into their business, like within the next day or week, that would make a difference in their business?
David, what's yours first?
Yeah, for me, I say, look, we're Handwrytten with a Y, but just send a handwritten note with an I. Just send a real handwritten note. Get in that habit and see the difference it makes for your business. And I guarantee you will see an improvement in, your interactions with clients, potentially referrals, that type of thing. And then once you get to a point where you realize, gee, I really want to send handwritten notes, but I don't have the time to do this, then seek out a service like Handwrytten to do it. And we'd be happy to help you with that. But that's what I would say, is just try to get in the habit of being grateful. There's a lot of studies that say, the more grateful you are, the more happy you are, if nothing else. So, try to get into a mindset of gratefulness, and send people handwritten notes, as that's a great way to be grateful.
All right, David, I should have cut you off because you just stole exactly what I was going to say there. I'm probably more eloquently than I was going to go after it. But yeah, to David's point, I mean, I'll just echo it. We are not trying to, fix what's not broken. If you're already sending out handwritten cards, or you're, doing this, you're just getting started with it, like you kind of mentioned, Kelly, for your folks who are coming onto your agency, you have them actually go through the pain of sending out handwritten cards. I think it's important to feel that pain, do it yourself and see what it feels like. And then you may have a little bit more appreciation for a service like what we have. But if what you're doing is working, don't change it. But yeah, send a handwritten card, actually get in the process doing that. Have somebody thank you for sending out that handwritten card. Implement David's point of a full stop thank you. Don't ask for a referral on a thank you. The very first thank you send out, send a card another 3 to 6 months later, then ask for a referral. But don't do it on that initial one. I think those are, some big key things that I've seen have a lot of success for real estate agents that we work with.
No doubt. So there's no doubt, guys, it's a universal truth. You get by giving. And that took a while for me to understand as I got older in life, right? I came from a kind of a scarcity mindset. And then I had to switch that over many, many years to an abundant mindset. And you do get by giving. You just don't see it right away, but it never fails. It always happens. So that's why I believe in handwritten notes as well. And again, it's just tough because you don't see that immediate, that ROI, but you do see immediate thank yous. And that is true. The Father's Day cards we just sent out to you guys, I had multiple people text me to say, hey man, thanks for the card. Happy Father's Day to you as well. Because I'm a dad as well, dad of 3. So that was really, really cool to see. And it's a good feeling. Just it's like, yeah, you know what? Happy Father's Day back to you too as well, because there's too many people to try to one-off text when you don't really necessarily mean it, as on Father's Day, because you're just trying to get through something. But if someone hits you up with thank you for Father's Day card and Happy Father's Day, it's so easy to genuinely respond back, you know what? Happy Father's Day to you too as well. Have a great day. So, yep.
And by the way, just a last little thing. I know you guys are local. If you ever want to come by and see how we do it all, we love giving tours because it's pretty unique, and we're proud to be here in Phoenix. So if you ever want to stop on by, just let Erik know, give one of us a call, and happy to give you a tour.
Heck yeah. I'll take you up on that for sure. Awesome. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. If anybody has any more questions, they want to see the samples, can you give your website one more time and just any ways to get in contact with you?
Yeah, it's Handwrytten, and that's HANDWRYTTEN.com. Go to handwrytten.com/business to request a sample kit. And then if you go to the features page, you can see screen scans of all the different handwriting styles there as well. Erik is ERIK at handwrytten.com, and he'd be happy to assist. I don't know if I missed anything.
No,
when you request the raw samples, you'll get an email from me that'll kind of introduce myself and have my contact info linked to my calendar. So if you do want to set up a tour, if you want to set up a quick call to go over best practices, your use case, and how we can work together in this, we're happy to do so.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much for being on. I won't leave without Kelly. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, where can they do it?
Yeah. Hey, cell phone text. I appreciate you guys who are texting me. I do see those and respond. 480-227-2028 or Instagram at Kelly Cook Homes.
And I also won't leave without saying this, as I do every time. If you are an agent and you are trying to get your team off the ground, build a team, please go to buildyourrealestateteam.com and go download Kelly's, kind of checklist, module, lesson for how to do it. Go take a look at that, buildyourrealestateteam.com. Thank you, Erik and David, so much again for being on. This was great. We appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye.
Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.